So think about small case like an Amazon. It's something very, very similar. It's identical. It's a marketplace. What is actually getting sold in this marketplace is products that are manufactured by a host of fund managers. But the beauty of this is it has even been extended to you. So tomorrow, Jay, if you feel like, creating your own portfolio and you think that, I am a great investment manager, I can create a great portfolio and let me actually create a revenue stream out of making my own portfolio, you can publish your portfolio on this small case platform, on this marketplace, and you can charge a fee. So whoever copies your portfolio will pay you something. It becomes a remuneration. So on one side, you have your portfolio, you're earning in the stock market. Okay, you're earning your dividends, you're earning your capital gains, and you can also have a revenue for yourself. But there is just one example of demonstrating how a marketplace works. It's like a sabzi mandi or mandi. Everybody is welcome to come in that market. Everybody can sell to everybody. Okay. So that's what a marketplace is. Small case has become one such marketplace. Okay. Now let's actually take you there. Put up the presentation and show me the second slide. Typical Natch process, which we know it's very, very straightforward. I'm not getting in too much into the process, but just the way you want to buy a product from Amazon, you go on to the Amazon platform and buy. In the same way, you go to the small case platform, register, and buy the product. Okay. Very simple. If you have any question on this picture, please interrupt me right now and ask. Okay, there's no problem for that. Okay, but just give me 2 minutes. Let me just complete this picture before you actually, uh, ask me a question. So we register on the platform, right? Because we want to buy a product. Leave this word update aside for a minute, but we want to just buy a product. Okay. Now, what happens is the moment I register on small case platform and I like a product and I say buy it. The moment I say buy the product, what happens is another window opens up. I will show you all this, okay? But right now, just understand it conceptually. The moment you click and say, I want to buy this product, another window opens up. And in that other window, your broker pops up. So you have a selection of brokers. Just think about it when you're making a payment, online payment. Now, that website doesn't know which bank account you have. So it'll give you a drop down of so many banks, right? ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, Bandhan Bank, RBL Bank, so on and so forth. So in the same way, this gives you a window. It gives you the choice of lots of brokers to choose from. So you click on the broker with whom you have an account. Okay. Listen to this very carefully. You are clicking onto the broker where you have an account, existing account. Okay. Once you choose, for example, you choose a account, say Zerodha or Upstocks or Grow or ICICI, whichever account you choose. The moment you do that, another window opens up. It'll ask you to put in your username, password, and the moment you do this, your buying is complete. Literally, from the time even if you are unregistered on this platform and you start your registration to buying the portfolio, it's 5 minutes or lesser. Can you imagine the power of this technology? So I'm going to use our friend Jay as an example. Jay is a fund manager. He's got his own portfolio. He's an analyst or a fund manager. He's published his portfolio. He's doing brilliant in his portfolio. We want to copy his portfolio. We want to do what he's doing. Okay. We want to get the returns that he's getting. So he has published his portfolio. I go to the small case platform. I don't have my registration. I register. I click on my broker and I say execute. Everything happens in less than 5 minutes. 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes if you are really fast, if your internet connection is good, if you know everything. Of course, there's only one precondition. Suppose you wanted to invest 2 lakh rupees here. Your bank account should have that 2 lakh rupees. Very simple. So it simply says that this green is your small case platform where you arrive first. This platform will divert you to this maroon box, which takes you to your broker, and your broker is already connected to your bank. So the bank account is debited, your broking account executes all the orders, the demat account will get credited the next day or the third day, and the transaction is all executed all within less than 5 minutes in your own demat account. Okay. Now, what happens is fund managers from time to time do some changes in the portfolio. So if they have bought, say, 25 stocks today, they may not necessarily continue this 25 stocks for the next 25 years. They might make some changes in the next 3 months, 2 months, etc., at their own frequency or at the frequency that they like. The moment that happens, we get a notification. Typically the notifications that we get in our mobile phones, so we get a notification like that: update your portfolio. Okay. So when you update your portfolio, this is where instead of buying, you're pressing on update. Very simple. It's done. Your updating of portfolio happens again within less than 25 seconds. Okay. And this update message keeps coming to you all the time. So the moment it comes, you click on that update, it'll connect you to your broker. But once the connection is made, you don't have to re-enter the password again and again, unless you're doing it from a new device, a new computer or a new phone, right? Once the link is established, it just gets executed in 5 minutes, literally. It's so amazing. Okay. On this subject so far, is there any question that anyone has in terms of the concept of the small case? Just keep your question to the concept of the small case. We'll answer all the other questions later on. I've seen a few in the chat box also, but the concept: marketplace, come and buy a product, it takes you to your broker, and your demat account is credited with shares, your bank account is debited, all within 3 minutes. Any confusion or question on this? Anybody?
Yeah, Kartik, good
Yes.
question. So um, you talked about anyone and everyone can create their own portfolio,
Yes.
right?
I mean, that's a slightly
I,
extended example,
of
but
course,
let's say
yeah,
the professional is made his
yeah,
portfolio.
sure. So there's a bunch of portfolio options, and then everyone also has their own brokerage company, right? Like a Zerodha or a Grow. Now,
Yes.
are all of those portfolios necessarily available on all these brokerages?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Good question. Thank you, Jay. Okay. Let me again use my annotation tool. This small case platform, this green box here, has got product 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 100, 200, 300, 400, 5. There are about 75 different professionals who are selling their products. Each one, take an average, selling about 8 to 10 products. We have close to 700 to 800 products all available on this small case platform. Again, to understand the small case platform, think Amazon. There are millions of products on Amazon. Here we have a few hundred products on Amazon. This entire orange, stick. I'm sorry. I mean, we are so left brain. We could only make a very logical geometrical figure for you instead of a slightly more interesting graphic. But this orange line basically says it's like a pipe. You are connected to all these things through one basically technology. So you are connected all the way to the bank, to your broker, to the small case, and the connection is seamless. So I've just tried to represent that using this sort of a orange pipeline. But there are hundreds of products here available on the small case platform. You can say, I want to have product number 143, just as an example. So I take this product. From this product, I say I want to buy it. The website will prompt me to go to my broker. Again, there are about 20, 25 odd brokers listed on this small case platform, and more keep getting added to it. So the leading brokers are all already connected. Your Kotak, HDFC, ICICI, the leading names, the discount brokerages, everybody's connected. And once they are connected, then you can just go ahead and execute your transaction. It's so amazing. Oh, by the way, for all of you who are attending, this MMF for the very first time, I just wanted to let you know that this is a educational endeavor from Transcend. We don't have any ulterior motives or any interest over it. This is not a marketing sort of a platform where we are trying to sell any product to anybody. We pick up a topic every month, something which is interesting, some idea which we found interesting, some concept, which is what we're talking about today, or some product which is interesting, and we basically uh, use that theme or that concept to speak about some sort of an opportunity that you can take advantage of. So we do this on the first Saturday of every month, and we intend to keep doing. Also, keep feeding us with information and suggestions. If you want us to cover a certain subject or a certain topic, we will even pick up that one in the subsequent months. Can I now move on to the next slide, please? So this is what is the small case platform. Okay, this was section one. Next. Now, why should we really invest in the small case? Before the presentation, I showed you that little picture which says that most of the larger investments that we have are not really performing. Why are they not performing? We'll talk about that in Q&A. But why should we invest in small case? Because by far it has the best returns. And I'm saying it has the best returns from my experience of watching small cases for the last few years. Best return, best performance. There is a professional management. Okay, they are constantly monitoring it. They're doing some serious research. They're using a lot of machine learning, artificial intelligence, etc., in their research. The most important thing to my mind is exit. See, what happens is we typically buy stocks, but we don't exit. And the reason we don't exit is because we think that, maybe the stock will go up further. Or we don't exit because we think that, oh, I'm already sitting in a loss. Now, why should I sell this stock in a loss? Or I might think that, this profit, I've got fantastic profit. My stock has gone up, multiple times in the last few years. Maybe it'll keep doing that for the next, for the next maybe 5 or 10 or 15 years. So there are lots of reasons for which we don't exit. Now, it becomes important to exit when the economic situation for the company becomes such that there is a reason to exit. Okay. And because there is a very well defined reason to exit, that's why one needs to exit. We don't exit, but the fund manager does not keep sitting in that stock. Sorry. So the fund manager keeps doing the exit from time to time. And because he keeps doing the exit from time to time, he has space to buy something new. And when he buys something new again, there is obviously opportunity to make higher returns because we have got a new investment now. We've got some new, we've rebalanced our portfolio, right? So that's the beautiful thing about it. So exit, one very important reason. Of course, the research and all is there. The rate performances. I'll show you the performance in just a while. In the section 6, I will show you performance. Now, here's where something very interesting. It's a very low ticket. There are small cases, for example, just like a mutual fund, a mutual fund, you can invest as low as 5,000 rupees, right? And as low as even 500 rupees. Here in the small case, also, you can invest as low as 20,000, 50,000. There are some people who will say 2 lakhs, 5 lakhs. But basically, even if you wanted to try out a product, and say, okay, this portfolio manager seems good, this guy seems interesting, let me try his product, 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs. It's basically very, very low ticket. So it's not a prohibitive investment in that sense. Okay, next slide. This I have explained how to invest in that picture a moment ago, but essentially there are two ways to invest. One is to go to the smallcase.com, which is a website, or like I said, it's like a marketplace. You go onto that website. There is also another way. See, a lot of broking houses, a lot of brokers have also diversified and launched their own small case. Okay. Now, for example, you may be aware that a broking house or a financial company, let's say a financial company, say ICICI is the easiest example. They have a bank also, they have a life insurance company also, they have a stock broking company, they have a mutual fund also, they have a PMS company as well. They also have an AI. Basically, they have all the verticals possible, for providing investment options to us. So let's say ICICI is a broker. Now, if ICICI had launched some of its own small cases, you can always go to the ICICI website and through the broker's website also reach this small case website and go and make the purchase. Okay. Charges that these managers apply to us are either fixed, which is to say that they could be a 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 for the year, or it could be a percentage, like a 0.5%, 1%, 2%, 3% for the year. So it's very simple. Just like the mutual fund charges you 2.5%, the difference is the mutual fund has charged this 2.5%, and it's actually debiting it from your fund every single day. 2.5% divided by 365 days, and they debit your fund. Versus these guys, they don't exactly debit your fund, but what happens is your bank account is debited to the extent of 2.5% divided by 12, because every month a certain amount might be deducted, or a 1% divided by 12, whatever is the charge. Okay. I hope you have sort of noticed that there is a very fundamental difference in small case versus, say, a mutual fund. What happens in a mutual fund is you make the investment and you get units. So your statement of mutual fund shows you that you have so many units of that particular fund. Okay. Versus this fund manager is actually going and doing all the buying and selling part uh, of the portfolio, and everything is converted into a form of a unit and an NAV which moves up and down every day. Correct? That's how a mutual fund works. In a small case, what happens is you have the same quality of fund manager, but the difference is stocks are bought and sold in your own demat account. So it's actually a hybrid or a cross between a portfolio management scheme where the minimum is 50 lakhs and the professional fund manager, makes all the suggestions and does the buying and selling, or, tells you to do the buying and selling in your account, versus a mutual fund who does not ask you anything about what to buy, what to sell. They do their own thing and they reflect their performance in the change of an NAV. So this is something like a cross or a in between. Okay. So charges are basically fixed or they're a percentage. Okay. Hope that's clear. And we explained the hybrid cross between the mutual fund and the PMS scheme. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, here is a little more detail about what happens on that marketplace. So when you go into that marketplace, let's say there's an ABCD, some small case. This is typically the process. You enter your email, understand the plan. Plan is something that you have chosen. There are hundreds of them, like I mentioned. Uh, you complete your risk profile, which is a typical SEBI thing. You just click, select your broker, sign the agreement, because the moment you put your Aadhaar, it becomes an e-sign, and complete the payment, which is already there in your bank account. So it looks like a process, but it is actually very, very quick, super simple, super fast. Okay, next, please. Right. Now, the most important question here, there are 500 to 700 products to choose from, right? How would you actually choose a small case? One way is to, use somebody like a Transcend, which is a broker. So just like a mutual fund, this is the easier part. So that's why I'll explain this thing first. So now small case as an industry does not understand, it's a business to consumer industry. Okay. So a lot of times you will not have anybody in the middle to help you with this. What happens in a mutual fund? For example, if you're doing a mutual fund investment for you over the last so many years, we come to you with suggestions that if you had to invest your 100 rupees, here is A, B, C, D. Let's diversify the portfolio in this fashion, and let's go ahead and make this investment, right? So there is somebody who's, let's say, curating amongst the products, which is a good one to buy. But if somebody wanted to buy on their own, you could also go to public websites like Money Control or Value Research Online and choose a mutual fund and buy it yourself as well. So, how do you choose a small case or a good small case? It has to happen via the small case website. There is no other way. There is no other data available anywhere else. It's only from this website that you can choose. I will show you this website. Just bear with me. It's a little difficult thing. It's the first time we are introducing a whole new vertical of an investment option. So we are trying to go very slow. And once I'm done in the next 5-10 minutes, I'll just sort of open the floor and we can answer many more questions. Okay. Go to the next one, please. Now, here is some precautions. When you are choosing a small case, and let's, for example, say that you have an account with ICICI and you have already got some of your own shares in ICICI account. Now, what happens is the small case, like I said, is an automated technology. You pick up a product and within seconds, your portfolio is duplicated or brought into your demat account, right? Which is fine. But let's, for example, say you had a share X in your portfolio already and you had 100 quantity of this X, all right? Because of the small case, another 25 of this X are bought. Now the small case manager might think that he wants to do a rebalance in the next 2 months. Okay, so at the 60th day, let's say he sends you a message, a notification on your phone saying you are requested to rebalance your portfolio. Now, in that rebalancing, he decides to sell X. Now, you bought this 100 shares of company X, say 3 years ago, and you bought these 25 shares of the same company X via the small case basket of portfolio. It's a basket, right? So you got X, Y, Z, ABC, you got a lot of companies. But in that, your X has got duplicated and he decides to sell it in 2 months' time. So there will be a total of 125 in your account now. But when he decides to sell 25, your 25 will go out because of the first in, first out rule of capital gains. Okay, so from an accounting point of view, shares will get sold, but it will be your shares which you bought 3 years back. So you will not pay short term capital gain, but you will pay long term capital gain. Okay, so that's the one little confusion that can happen. So we normally suggest don't mix with the existing demat. This is just by experience that we've come across and we're saying this. Okay, there's another very interesting thing. Say the small case manager is charging you 1% per annum to provide you the services of a professional fund manager, but you are on ICICI platform and not Zerodha platform, for example. Now, ICICI has a certain broking charge. So your cost of transaction is 1% that the fund manager is charging plus broking. So if you have a broking charge of, let's say, 0.3%, just taking an example, okay, and for example, if the portfolio manager has done 6 rebalances in the year, then your charge is going to be 0.3 into 6 times, which is basically 1.8%. And therefore, your total charge is going to be 1 plus 1.8%. Okay, so just you have to remember that. Don't forget. Zerodha, you don't have to worry, but it's only the brokerage that you don't have to worry. The other charges, the exchange charges, the GST, etc., all those obviously have to be paid, right? Okay, now we move on to the last point here is that remember I said that this is like a pay as you go service. So if you decide to keep the service on for say 4 months, at the end of every month, there has to be a little bit of money in your bank account so that your fees can be paid. Let's take an example. You were to do a 10 lakh investment and the fees for that portfolio was 10,000 rupees a year. Okay. But divide by 12, which means approximately 800 and some odd change is going to get debited from your account every month. The point I'm trying to make is that that money should be there in your account all the time. Okay, some obviously it's a small amount. Most of the times it will be there, but there could be instances, say for example, the portfolio manager is charging you 3%, and you, for example, have let's say a 5 lakh portfolio. So the charge is 15,000 a year, which is 1250 per month plus GST, and the charge is about 1300 1400. And maybe some month you are doing some transaction and this charge just flies in at that time, and suddenly your charge is returned back. It happened to me also once, so I know. And then of course the bank will charge you a little bit for returned EC, the mandate and all those things. But basically it's a point to note that you need to keep some balance in your account. Okay, so these are the 5 real big points about the small case that you need to know. What is a small case? It's a marketplace, number one. How to buy it from the small case platform. What happens when you buy? It connects to your broking account and shares are credited to your demat account, and your bank is obviously debited. It's all automated, happens in less than 5 minutes. Okay, some precautions here for you to note. And long and short, it has the best performance. So that's a compelling story on the small case and why we should consider it. Okay.